Hello and welcome to Connector Pods, commercial services group recruitment podcast for job seekers and employees alike.
In today's episode, we're speaking with Cieran Donnelly about why you or any other social workers should consider working with us. Good afternoon, Cieran.
Afternoon, Joe.
Could you please let everyone know your job title and what it is that you do?
Yeah, so I work as Head of Qualified Social Work for Commercial Services. My job is really to go around our brands and to support our business managers, talent partners, really finding the best social workers for those local authorities and supporting in all of that, really.
Perfect, thank you. So some of you listeners may already be aware, but Cieran has done a number of blogs on our site, all about the DfE statutory guidelines and other such things. And he's also done 2 other episodes of this podcast, which I highly recommend that you go and listen to before this one. Also, I would recommend going and reading the blogs if you would like more information about the DfE statutory guidelines. But for today's episode, Cieran, I believe we're talking about why social workers should work for us. First, though, can you quickly walk us through the DfE statutory guidelines and what it looks like to achieve?
So the DfE changes, or the guidelines, are really based upon reforming children's agency social work and how we kind of recruit them in the field. Really important to kind of highlight 2 dates. So from the 31st of October 2024, all new placements will be governed by these guidelines. And then local authorities have till the 1st of October 2025 to bring all legacy placements and contracts they might have that procure children's agency social workers in line as well. And they really focus on about 6 points. So first of all is working with price caps. So making sure that all social workers follow the price caps of that region. It's establishing post-qualified experience. So making sure every child social work assignment has 3 years post-qualifying experience. It's about making sure that project teams are brought in line to make sure they're in line with the caps and also IR35 legislation. It's also to really standardise references, so to make sure that local authorities are getting 2 professional references for every assignment they're engaging with, and also in allowing social workers to get a professional reference detailing what they've done in that local authority. The next is kind of notice periods, which is a big change. So matching notice periods to either a 4-week notice or to the substantive equivalent for that role. Also, branching off from the MOU, instilling a call-off period nationally. So making sure that permanent workers in the region will have to take a break outside before they're enabled to be engaged through the local market. And the last, which will be really interesting to see as we come up to reporting, is data. So making sure that every local authority is reporting accurately on its use of children's social workers, both pay, where we're engaging them from, also making sure that they're following these guidelines as well. So it's a really interesting time as we've only just passed the 31st of October to see how these guidelines kind of evolve in the next year and where they go from then. What I'm really encouraged about is the impact on project teams, because I feel like the restriction within these guidelines will really benefit framework agencies and really help us recruit stronger social workers into the field. So really excited to see how this develops over the next year.
Amazing, thank you. So obviously generally as well, but with these changes in mind, what advice would you give social workers who are looking for their next role?
My main advice would be to work with a company and a talent partner who is specialised in the field. Don't be distracted by promises of project and huge pay rates. You want to work with someone who is dedicated to the area you're looking to work with and can describe the team, the managers, what that first day will really look like. As a social worker, you want someone who's going to be focused on finding you the best opportunity, building a relationship with you as your career develops. You want to ensure you don't miss out on the perfect opportunity, so want to be registered with an organisation that is partnered with multiple local authorities.
So what should social workers be looking for in possible new roles, and what is the best way to find them?
So as a social worker, you should be thinking about your next role and how that will support your long-term career. I'd find and speak with an expert and ask as many questions as possible. No question is a silly question when you're talking about your next role. A social work specialist will be able to give you an accurate and a real picture of what different teams look like, how they operate, what the management is like. Getting their expertise will allow you to feel confident on your first day and hopefully throughout the rest of the role.
Brilliant. So how does a commercial services group recruitment agency support local authorities to find the best social workers?
So commercial services support through our joint venture partnership. We employ dedicated talent partners that recruit just for that authority and really build long-lasting relationships with candidates, both actively and passively looking in the market. We focus on what makes the local authority unique, what great work they do, as well as what challenges they face. Then we recruit with this expertise to ensure we find the best candidate for each role, not just to fill a seat. We also ensure we're compliant with all new legislation, such as the DFE, and make sure all of our workers are compliant, so local authorities really feel confident in each worker that we provide.
And similarly, what are the benefits of working with a commercial services group recruitment agency talent partner?
I count myself very lucky as I get to work with all of them, and they are incredibly dedicated and incredibly skilled talent partners. Just to kind of name a few that commercial services bring, but working with a commercial service talent partner means you never miss out on that perfect role. It offers you the expert support, allows you to work with industry leaders, and my favorite, you're joining a company that creates real social impact and delivers profit for purpose back to our local authority shareholders, which is so important in the current climate today.
Brilliant, thank you. So you have already provided quite a few reasons, but what actually makes a commercial services group recruitment agency different to any other recruitment agency?
I think I'm really lucky because I get to work across commercial services and with all of our brands. And I would say that our commercial services talent partners are incredibly dedicated and really skilled talent partners. And if we just look at a few of the benefits of working with a commercial services talent partner, working with them means you never miss out on that perfect role. Offers you expert support, it allows you to work with industry leaders, and really my favorite, you'd be joining and working with a company that creates real social impacts and delivers profit for purpose back to our local authority shareholders. And at the climate right now, I think that is incredibly important and gives such value.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Cieran, for joining me on the podcast today.
Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you for having me. And I really hope that some of those answers have really given some knowledge to anyone who's looking for new roles in qualified social work. And if anyone has any queries or questions, please feel free to reach out to me anytime.
Exactly right. And I'd just like to reiterate to anyone listening, if you haven't heard the last 2 episodes of this interview, I would highly recommend you go and listen to them because there's a lot more useful information that might apply to you there. Well, thank you for listening to this special episode of Connector Pods.
We'll be releasing an episode every month on Spotify, YouTube, and our own site, so make sure to subscribe to keep up to date. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you'd like to reach out to us, email connectorpods@gmail.com.
Connect with us again in the next episode.
Yeah.